Hey, what is going on, guys? So today on the channel we are going to be installing Ubuntu 20 on VirtualBox on my Mac. So you guys really loved when I did this on Ubuntu 19, so now that version 20 is released, I figured it'd be a good time to upload this video, and plus it's already a year old, believe it or not, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need here, of course, is VirtualBox. So in case you don't know, VirtualBox is a virtual machine program that is 100% free. So unlike, VMware or Parallels, those are paid versions. So VirtualBox is actually a free virtual machine software. So to get it, all you have to do is go to virtualbox.org, and there should be a big download button here with the latest version of VirtualBox. So all you have to do is click right here on this download button, and it's going to take you to another page here that says download VirtualBox, and you can see we have our packages right here. We have Windows host, OS 10 host, Linux, and Solaris. So of course you can do this on Windows if you're on Windows, but since we're on OS 10, we're going to click that. And as soon as you click that, it's going to begin downloading VirtualBox for you. Now, I'm not going to download this because I already have VirtualBox installed, as you can see right down here. But once it downloads, it's just like any Mac application. You open up the installer and you go through the installation process. Now, one thing I will say about the installation process of VirtualBox is there may be one issue that you encounter. So when you actually start the installation of VirtualBox, you may get an error that pops up, and you may have another pop-up that says you need to allow this in system preferences. So basically what you do is, if you get that, you go to your system preferences and you go to the security and privacy section, and you want to make sure you're on the general tab. And once you're here, if you get that pop-up, it'll be right here in this area, and you should see a button over here that says allow. It'll say something like Oracle America is trying to do something, blah blah blah, and you want to click that allow button. It's just a security thing in macOS. They're all about security, and makes it kind of difficult to do things sometimes, but all you have to do is click that allow button, restart the VirtualBox installation, and then you will be able to install it. Okay, so once VirtualBox opens up, it'll look a little something like this. You can see over here is where your different virtual machines will be. You can have as many as you would like. So once we create our Ubuntu 20, it'll be over here. And before we even continue on with VirtualBox, we actually need a copy of Ubuntu. So you need to go to Ubuntu.com, and by the way, I'll put the link for VirtualBox and Ubuntu in the description down below to make it a little easier for you. But once you get to this website, you just want to click on this download button right here, and you're going to get all the different versions you can get for Ubuntu, but we're going to use the desktop version right here. And you can see the current version is 20.04, so you just want to click Ubuntu desktop, and then up here at the top you see download it right here, 20.04. You can scroll down and you can click on this download button, and then it'll take you to this page that says thank you for downloading, and it should start automatically here. And if we take a look, you can see it is 2.72 gigabytes here. So depending on your internet connection, could take a while, could take a few minutes, but for the sake of time, I have already downloaded this as well, so we don't need to download that either. Now I just want to show you this right here as well, so you can see the recommended system requirements. So pay attention to those, know what your computer has. So these three will be very important right here when we are creating the virtual machine. Alright, so now that we have those two things downloaded and ready to go, we can go ahead and create our virtual machine here in VirtualBox. So this is version 6, so it looks quite a bit different than the version I did in my previous installation video with version 19. So you can see they've changed some icons up here, but it's pretty much the same menus and stuff. So what you want to do is click on the new button, and it's going to want you to type in a name. Now this name is what's going to appear over here in this pane, and you'll see what I mean when we get done creating this, but you want to make this an identifiable name. Most of the time I just name mine whatever operating system I'm installing. So this is Ubuntu 20.04, so that's a good recognizable name for it to appear over here. Now you don't want to change your machine folder. This is where your actual virtual machine files are going to be put on your Mac, and usually it's in your home folder. So if you look in your home folder, you'll have a VirtualBox VMs folder. So don't change that, it's a good place for it there. But if you want, you can change it, although I don't recommend doing it. And once you type a name in up here, it automatically recognizes what operating system you're running. So that's another reason why you want to make an identifiable name, because you can see it now knows that we're using Linux and Ubuntu 64-bit. So okay, so once you get all this stuff good to go here, you just go ahead and hit the continue. Okay, so right here is the amount of RAM that you want to allocate to your virtual machine. So it's good to know what amount of RAM your computer has, because whatever you put here in this area is going to be what is taken whenever you're using your virtual machine. So for example, my computer has 16 gigabytes of RAM in it. So I can choose, pretty much whatever I want in this green area, and I can go a good amount. Now, although I don't recommend going that amount, it is nice to know that, well, you could go that amount. And of course, notice this is in megabytes, but you can see 16 384 megabytes and then 16 gigs of RAM. You can see how close that kind of is. So 2048 is about 2 gigs. Now, 4 gigs is what Ubuntu recommends, although I've been getting by with 2 just fine. And I think a minimum of 2 on any virtual machine is what you should aim for. The good news about this is you can change this at any time you would like. So if you set a number here and you start using your virtual machine and you realize, hey, this thing is slow, it's not working properly, well, you can go back in your settings, you can up that RAM. So don't worry about it. You can change this on the fly. So I'm going to set this at 2048. That's about 2 gigs of RAM, and that's going to be good enough for this demo, and it's going to be good enough for most people. So I'm going to go ahead and set that. So you hit continue. And now we have the hard drive. So this is the virtual hard disk. It's going to be in this middle right here. So this is what you definitely want to use, is create a virtual hard disk now. So you want to hit create, and you want to make sure that it's on VirtualBox disk image, then hit continue. And I would do dynamically allocate it, but you can also do a fixed size. So it kind of explains it a little bit here for you. But basically what this means is if you choose dynamically allocate it, it will allocate the space it needs over time until it gets to the limit that you set. And if you choose fixed size, well, what it's going to do is it's going to take all that gigabytes that you set immediately. So it'll take all that space off of your host machine. So that's why dynamically allocated is the better choice here. But sometimes a fixed size may work better for you, and you can run virtual machines off of external like SSDs or hard drives. So maybe if you have one of those, a fixed size might be the better option for you. But I always do dynamically allocate it. So you hit continue, and now we have the hard drive space that we want to allocate to the machine. So it recommended 10 gigabytes, but remember on the website for Ubuntu, it said it recommends 25. What I always like to do is about 64. It doesn't, you're not going to need that much, but you definitely want to do at least 25 because that's what Ubuntu recommends. I'm going to do 64 for the purpose of this video, but it is very important to note that your hard drive space cannot be changed. Unlike the RAM. The RAM can be changed at any point you want, but your hard drive space cannot. So it's very important that you allocate plenty of space here, because if you want to change this, the only way to do it is to delete your entire virtual machine and start again. I'm going to do 64 for this demo, and I'm not even going to keep this machine, so That's what I'm going to do. But my computer has 512 gigabyte SSD, so just find out what your computer has, see what you think would work best for you. What programs you're going to be installing on Ubuntu, what are you going to be doing with it, how much space do you think you need, because this number cannot be changed. So once you figure that out, you hit create, and you can see we now have our virtual machine. Now here's what I was talking about. It has appeared over here in this pane to the left, and now we have a bunch of settings and information about it right here to the right. Now before we actually start it up for the first time, we want to click on the settings button up here because we want to check on a few things. So in this general tab, there's really nothing that you can change too much. It looks good to me. Now on the system, so here's where you can change that RAM. So like I said, if you find that it's not working good for you, it's slow, you come back in here, you bump that RAM up some more, and you can just play around with it and find the amount that works for you. Now I don't think we need a floppy disk anymore, so I'm just going to uncheck that. And you want to go over to your processor. So you can actually allocate more of your CPU to your virtual machine. Now you can see I only have a max of 4 cores here, so I can't really allocate too much. For most people, 1 is gonna be perfect. Okay, so that's really all you need. If I could really push it and do 2, but I'm gonna do 1. Again, you can play around with this and find the one that works best for you, but if your machine's performing poorly, you may need to add more processor to it. Alright, now we can go up here to display. So on Ubuntu, for some reason, it puts this all the way down here. You want to make sure that's all the way to the right, no matter what. So you want to put that all the way to the right for your video memory. And if you want to get a little bit extra performance out of it, you can enable 3D acceleration. And that's going to make the graphics and things a little bit smoother for you. But on the video memory, make sure it's all the way to the right, regardless of what virtual machine you were doing. You want to make sure it's all the way to the right. On Ubuntu, it's limited to like 128 megabytes. On Windows 10, it actually goes all the way to 256 megabytes. I'm not sure if that's different on different computers, but that's what mine is. So you want to make sure it's all the way to the right. And then these other tabs, well, there's really nothing to do here. If you notice, here's your shared folder, so you can actually share things between your host and the virtual machine if you would like. But that's pretty much it. So we can hit OK on that, and we're ready to click that start button for the first time. Alright, so whenever you're ready, we can go ahead and click that start button, and it's going to start up the virtual machine here for the first time. Now when you start it up here for the first time, it's going to ask you to insert the basically installation file. So we need to insert the Ubuntu 20 ISO that we downloaded from their website, and in order to do that, you want to click on this little folder icon. When you click on this folder icon, it's going to pop up this menu. Now this menu is brand new here in version 6, but don't let it scare you. All you want to do is click on this add button here. It says add a disk image. When you click on that, it's going to bring up your Finder window right here, and you just want to locate wherever you put that ISO file. So it might still be in your downloads, but for me, I've moved it to a different location. But you want to locate that, you want to click on it, and you want to hit open, and it's going to put it right here in this menu. So you want to make sure it's selected, and then you hit choose, and there we go. So now what this means is when we click start, it's going to boot up the Ubuntu installation. So go ahead and click that start button, and you're going to see the VirtualBox logo for the boot screen, and then you're going to start loading into the Ubuntu installation. So we'll go ahead and give this a second for it to load up here. Alright, so now it's going to check the disk here, and if you see some random stuff pop up on the screen, or you see the floating line or anything like that, it's totally normal. It's just how Ubuntu boots up. So we're going to let this do its checks here, and then we should be into the installation. Alright, so here we are on the welcome screen here. Now you can go ahead and click the X on these two little pop-ups. This is just VirtualBox stuff. You can just click that and get it out of the way. But yeah, here we are. We're on the Ubuntu installation welcome screen. So you want to make sure your language is correct over here, and then you want to click on the install Ubuntu button right here. We'll go ahead and choose your keyboard layout, make sure that's correct, and then you can hit continue. We want to go ahead and make sure that it says normal installation because we want the full install of Ubuntu. And you want to make sure the download updates while installing is checked, just so as it says you can save some time. And then right here, you don't need to check this because the VirtualBox guest editions should take care of that. So you'll make sure you got all that good to go, and then hit the continue button again. Means here you want to make sure the erase disk and install Ubuntu is selected, and then we can hit the install now button right here. And then it's just going to confirm that you want to write the changes to the disk, and we do, so we hit continue. Wants to confirm basically your time zone and everything like that, and hit continue again. Alright, so now it basically wants you to create an account, so just put your name in, and then it automatically kind of fills in everything else for you. You do have to put a password in. I'm just going to put a very weak password in because I'm not going to keep this virtual machine, but you fill all this out how you want, and then you can hit continue again here. And now we are finally beginning the installation process. I forgot there was all those extra steps in there, but yeah, so now it's finally installing Ubuntu here, and whenever this gets done, I will come back. Alright, so now that it is done installing, it wants us to go ahead and restart, so just simply click on the restart now button. You're going to get this message that says, please remove the installation medium. Well, in VirtualBox, you do not have to do that, so you just hit the enter key. Alright, so now we are here almost on the desktop. We just have a few more setup things. So if you want to, you can connect your online accounts, but for now, I'm just going to hit skip up here. And then you can also set up the live patch, but I'm also going to skip that for now. And you can send system information, to help improve Ubuntu, so you might as well do that. Now again, you choose whatever you want on these settings. I'm just going through them real quick here so we can, get on with it. But you can turn on location services, and then you can see right here it says you're ready to go. You can use software to install apps like these. So it's pretty cool to see all the apps that Ubuntu can run. You have PyCharm, Visual Studio Code, Skype, Spotify, Discord. I mean, you have just about everything you would need. So pretty cool. But now you can hit the done button up here. And here we are. We are on the desktop for Ubuntu 20. Okay, so before we can actually start using this, we need to install the VirtualBox guest editions, so it makes our screen resolution correct and installs some other drivers and things that it needs to run a little better here. If you notice, when I drag this window, the screen resolution does not automatically adjust to it, so that's one major thing that the VirtualBox guest editions will fix. So in order to install these, all you got to do is go up here to your menu bar in your Mac, hit devices, and click on the insert guest editions CD image, and you should get a pop-up here in a second. So you're gonna get this little pop-up here, and you just want to click on the run button right here, and it's going to ask you for your password, so you just want to go ahead and enter that, and then you can hit authenticate. And now it's going to install the VirtualBox guest editions for us. So you just want to go ahead and wait for this to get done, and whenever the terminal gets done doing what it needs to do, we're going to have to restart in order for the changes to take place. So go ahead and wait for this to get done, and then we'll go ahead and restart it. So you can see it is done here. All we need to do is restart, so we can go ahead and hit return to close this window. And you may get this as well. This is just a software update. This is actually Ubuntu software here, but I'm going to go ahead and remind me later on this just so we can restart and let the guest editions take place. So you're just going to go ahead and click right here, hit power off, and then we can hit restart. and it's going to restart for us, and whenever it boots back up here, it should be good to go. So go ahead and wait for it to boot back up here. Alright guys, so we're booted back up here, and I'll show you right now. If I resize this window, you can see that the screen resolution automatically adjusts properly, and this means that we can now even go full screen. So if you want to use your virtual machine full screen, you can do that now as well. Now, one final thing is you can, of course, eject the guest editions installation right there, because we no longer need it. And there you go, guys. You're now ready to go with Ubuntu version 20. So that's going to do it for this video. If you guys have any questions, if you ran into any issues with the install, be sure to drop a comment down below. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can, and maybe some other commenters can help you out as well if they see your question. But yeah, guys, really simple installation. It's not anything too crazy, and this is how you can run a virtual operating system on your Mac or on your Windows device. I mean, it's pretty cool what you can do with virtual machines. So that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for watching, as always, supporting the channel. I cannot believe I'm at 1,000 subs now. It's just unreal. But thank you guys so much. Like I said, any questions, concerns, leave your comment down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video. It helps a lot. And also subscribe to the channel so you never miss any tutorials like this one right here. But that's all I got for you guys today. Like I said, I will catch you all in the next video.